Here we are, Rick. It's Tuesday.
It is. It's not raining today. Kind of nice.
I know. It's a lovely, lovely
Beautiful.
day, and I'm happy to be here. I was, um, having a good old time all weekend pretending to be a cowgirl, and now I'm back here at the office and being me, my other me,
That's right.
well rested and ready to go.
Sounds good. Well, you look great, and it's a Tuesday already, so let's go, huh?
Let's do it. I know it's going to be a short week, and it is action packed.
Yeah, for
I
sure.
While I was gone, I had four people call me over the weekend and they want
Hmm.
me to come over and talk to them about selling their house. And with this sort of, I think it's sort of an increasing inventory type of environment where there's more houses coming up for sale. And you and I talk a lot about buyers being the best prepared buyer that they
We
can
do.
possibly be, which is,
Hmm.
gosh, I think that's my most solid piece of advice for buyers is the preparation.
Hmm.
But also for sellers have to be prepared too. And we're going to talk about a big one today, and that is staging. We're going to talk about staging a home. And I know that this is more my realm than your realm since I'm out there in those streets, but
Hmm.
you will definitely be able to, with all your years of experience, nearly 40 years, right, of experience in the real estate industry. I'm sure you have something to say about every topic anyway.
Sometimes.
Sometimes, yes, yes. So staging. So what
Hmm.
is staging and how do you prepare your home for staging? So sometimes people just keep the things they already have in their home and just put them together a little bit better.
Hmm.
That's a very common way for someone to stage their house. I mean, you're moving anyway, right? Hopefully this all goes well and you're moving anyway. So put your things away, put them in
Hmm. Hmm.
boxes. You can rent a pod, or you can put them like in the middle of your garage just so the inspector can still navigate around the edges of the garage. But you're moving, and if it's, right now it's springtime and the weather's getting warmer, you're probably not going to need your winter stuff. All your winter stuff,
Right.
your clothes, your
Hmm.
jackets, your galoshes, your skis, or whatever it is, just put it in a pod and get it organized and off the property, right?
Yep.
You're not going to need your Christmas decorations anymore, and you're going to thank me profusely later, because if everything goes right, your house is going to get under contract right away. Everything's going to be moving lightning fast, and you're going to be moving. But with this method, you'll already have most of your things packed anyway. Okay.
Ready to
And
go.
so, yeah, people, when they come to your house, they don't want to think, oh my gosh, I'm going to outgrow this house just as quickly as these people did. Because, it's 2025. By the time they come to your house, they know how long you've lived there. And, by the looking around, they can tell if you have a big family or small family. And they're trying
Hmm.
to imagine themselves there. So if they open the
Hmm.
cabinets and stuff's falling out at them, this is not a good way to go, you
Yeah,
know?
not a good impression, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So I tell
Yeah.
people just take like 60% of your stuff, put it away, rearrange your furniture. If you have a desk in the dining room, it's better to have the dining room look like the dining room. You got to like move things back around. And even if that's not the way that you had it, um, it's like I said, you don't go to a model home. I mean, we know how much you sold a lot of brand new
Hmm.
houses,
Hmm.
how much money the builders put into staging the
A
houses. It's
ton, a ton.
a ton. It's like, why
Hundreds
do
of
you
thousands.
think? Yeah,
Literally hundreds of thousands
yeah, because
per home.
they want people to envision themselves in that house.
Hmm.
They put all sorts of local touches. I mean, a bunch of geniuses over there with the new home staging.
Yeah.
So you can work with what you have. You can do a refresh, you can do a rearrangement, and your realtor should be able to help you with that. If they can't help you, then they can refer you to somebody that might be able to help you put that together. But or some people just clear out, or it's a vacant house, and then they pay a stager to come in
Hmm.
and to stage the house. So, it always doesn't look like it's enough when you have somebody come in and stage it. It's very sparse, but that's the way that the staging is. You know,
Mm-hmm.
it's going to
Mm-hmm.
be real airy and light.
Mm-hmm.
And you know how I sell a lot of historic homes. You know, we don't have mission style staging furniture or Spanish style staging. It's all very contemporary
Mm-hmm.
and trendy.
Mm-hmm.
And believe it or not, that looks good in any house and it attracts um, buyers because they know that even if they're buying a historic home, that they don't have to have antiques, that they can still give it a refresh with their personal belongings and they don't have to ruin any of its character to get, you know, what they're
Right.
looking for out of it, you know?
Exactly right. Yep. No doubt about that.
Yeah. So, and when you pay a stager to stage a house, costs a bit of money because you know they're having to keep this furniture and keep it refreshed and storage and all this kind of stuff. So the stager that I use for 3 months for like just an average size house around here, and she's gonna do the living room, the dining room, the kitchen, some tchotchkes in the bathroom, and she might throw a bedroom in for about $3,500. That's about what it costs for
Not too
three
bad.
months. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
not bad. But if you're living there, like spend that money instead to get your act together and get
Yeah.
everything packed, right?
Get step up, get cleaned out. Clean it
Yeah,
up
yeah. And
for
there's other
sure.
ways to prepare. Like I said, the closets, you know, it's good to have to be able to at least like slide your hand in between your clothes in the closet, you know? And so people can
That'd be
kind of
nice.
see, I know, can see through the things. But like if you have
Yeah.
energy efficient light bulbs, you might look around the lighting of your house because that's a big deal. People
Mm-hmm.
like houses that are well lit
Right.
and preferably natural light. But if you have a lot of energy efficient light bulbs, like the kind that take a really long time to warm up and that sort of thing, it's time for the sale of the house. You have to get things well
Update
lit.
it. Yep.
Hmm. And even if you have to add a little, you know, a lamp here or there, you
Mm-hmm.
should because it's really well worth it. Because some people, when the market, and I'm not saying this is happening, okay, but I'm saying when there's more inventory and there's more competition, people will go from buying anything at any cost under any circumstances to they don't like the lighting in the house and they're not going to buy it. So it's better to
Very
just
true.
yeah, just create your own narrative, you know, and
Mm-hmm.
get that
Mm-hmm.
house lit up and get it organized and that sort of thing. Pack it up. And also, you know, part of staging too is giving it a deep clean, you know,
Mm-hmm.
cleaning
Mm-hmm.
the baseboards and the scuffs off the wall, maybe having a
Yeah.
handy person come and do some touch ups, you know, change your toilet seat if it's crusty and wash your
Yeah.
windows and put some fresh flowers in the front with
Yeah.
some
Sure.
bark.
Yeah. Things like, for example, ceiling fan dust, right? You go into their
Oh
bedroom,
yeah.
the dust hang off the ceiling fan. It's like, no, I don't think so. I don't like that look, right? So
Yeah,
just things like that, people don't really pay
don't like
attention
that
to it. They
look.
go, why did they think about that?
I
Right?
know.
But buyers will see it every time. You may
Yeah.
not see it because they're living there with it, perhaps, but
Yep.
the buyers will see it every time.
I know. And we're trying to, like we said, we're trying to create a really happy
Hmm.
place. And we don't want people to think about problems when they come in. Unless, of course, your house is a fixer and you don't want to do
Well,
anything.
that's a different discussion.
Different discussion. Then you just have to have
Yeah.
it priced appropriately so you have enough people come in that
Hmm.
anyway. So we went over what is staging. There's two kinds of staging. You can stage with what you have there, or you can get all new stuff.
Hmm. Hmm.
How much it costs? It costs anywhere from 3,500 on up, depending on how big your house is and if you're doing all the bedrooms and all that kind of stuff. And why to do it? Because it helps buyers to fall in love with the house and to visualize themselves there with a more neutral environment. And furniture can also make it look updated
Hmm.
when it's
Hmm.
really not. And you know, what's the return on something like this?
It's a lot. You and I can
It's
both
a
attest
lot.
to that. It's a lot.
Hmm.
A lot more than the
Hmm.
cost of staging or the time that it takes to prepare it. It's worth the return on investment. It's huge. It's
It
huge.
is huge.
And I
Hmm.
think you and I can both attest. We talk about always being the most prepared buyer, now the most prepared seller. But guess what else? The most prepared realtor. We know
Yeah.
that, right? And so
Right.
you and I have seen situations where you see these photos where you see the realtor holding their iPhone in the mirror taking the pictures, and the
Mm-hmm.
rooms are all dark and it's cluttered and you got
Dirty
weird
clothes,
stuff.
dishes in the sink. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they got their vanity on their bathroom is piled up with who knows what, three
Mm,
levels high,
mm,
and that's just not attractive to home buyers. And
mm-mm.
so if the realtor is not prepared to really advise their client as the right way to sell their house, they're costing their seller a lot of money. They just
Oh
don't
my
know it.
gosh.
They're costing that
Exactly.
seller a ton of money because guess what? Now the seller's agent is not prepared. And I
Mm-hmm.
think you and I can both attest when you have that kind of a seller, it's more
Mm-hmm.
than just the staging and everything in that throughout the entire course. That escrow is going to be just kind of a mess.
Yeah, yeah.
They're just not
If you're not
prepared.
prepared, yeah. Because by the time you get your house on the market, you should have the staging done. All
Right.
your light bulbs should work. You should have your disclosures done. You should have
Yeah.
your smoke detectors
I
in
was going to
all the
say that smoke
rooms, the
detectors.
carbon
Yep.
monoxide, the water
Yep. Your
heater
water heater
strapped.
strapped. Yep.
Yeah. I was talking to another broker on
Hmm.
the phone this morning. And I said, because he's very active in our association, all this kind of stuff. And I have to tell
Hmm.
my broker too. It's like they don't, the forms that we have to fill out for listings, it says you have to have a listing on the market within like 3 days of filling out the listing form. But
Hmm.
a lot of times we're working on these houses for weeks and weeks and helping the seller get everything together. And so I said there needs to be another form for that because people don't realize how much work you
Work.
need to put in up front because you want your client to be
Right.
proud of their house. You want it to sell
Yeah.
for a lot of money. Because all
Of
their friends are
course.
going to see pictures of it all over the internet and
Yeah.
the whole
Their
thing.
neighbors,
So
everybody.
yeah. So
Right.
staging is totally worth it. And if you're looking at selling your house, you should go through it with your realtor and see what's the cost versus reward on these repairs and make a plan from there. That's
Yeah,
the
it's a
bottom
good,
line.
those are all good points. If you go back to that home builder scenario, because I've looked at a lot of home builder stuff. I used to work for home builders and I was at a tract last year or so. And I know for a fact when you see these houses that are the models, that's not what you're buying for that base price, not even close.
Not even
And
close.
and they always want to like throw, oh yeah, there's upgraded, but you can get stuff. It's no big deal. Well, it is. On one of those houses, and I
Mm-hmm.
kid you not, there was upwards of $500,000 in upgrades. The way that model
Mm-hmm.
house was set was about $500,000 in upgrades.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Well, and guess what? They're selling those houses like crazy
Right.
because that's what the buyers see. Now they may not buy all those upgrades, but they can still
Mm-hmm.
visualize, well, if I at least get this, it's going to be close to that. And that's still worth it to
Exactly.
them. But if a builder is willing to spend $500,000 or several hundred thousand
Mhm.
dollars for one home, look at the value they're bringing.
Oh yeah.
A
Exactly. I
ton.
agree.
They're getting their money back, or they
Yeah.
would not be doing it.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
liked when Brookfield here was doing the Colony Park.
Hmm.
They always had a couple of units you could look at that weren't upgraded just
Base.
so you could kind of,
Yeah.
because it's so
Hmm.
shocking.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
like, oh my gosh, yeah, this went from luxury hotel to a Motel 6 or something, which is fine. A house is a house, but just to show
Yeah.
you how important it was to put all those
Mhm.
upgrades and all that
Yeah.
staging in the first place.
It's huge. Yeah.
It's huge. All right, Rick, how's the market doing? I mean, it's Tuesday. You just barely, have been at work for a day because we
Yeah.
closed on
Yesterday's.
yesterday,
Yeah.
but
Right. Market, up a little bit today, not much. I've been flowing the market, not a big deal today. Market's been fairly flat the last
mm-hmm,
couple, 3 weeks. I mean, we get to
mm-hmm,
the point where we think we're going to get a breakout in the market. It reaches right to that level, and then it pulls it back, gets back and
mm-hmm.
pulls it back. So it's just the ebb and flow of the market right now. At some point, we're going to get a break. Rates, by the way, are still pretty good. Rates aren't high. Rates are still better than they were 6 months ago, right? We know that.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
But, by human nature, we always want the next lowest rate. And so what is that
Right.
and when's that going to happen?
Yeah, I
Right.
was listening to the Housing Wire podcast that came
Hmm.
out yesterday, and it was Logan
Yeah.
Mohatshami, and I forget what the other gal's name is, excuse me, but um, she had a really good question. She was talking about refinancing,
Mhm,
And obviously, like that market is, probably pretty dead right now. But
mhm,
he was saying that, oh, it was like, I think he said something like 70% of homeowners have rates that are under 6.5 or 6 or
mhm,
something.
mhm, mhm.
So I thought, oh, that's interesting for refinances. Probably, not anywhere on the horizon is there going to be a surge in refinances.
And not in the near term future. At some
Yeah.
point there will be. I don't know what that will be or what that will look like, but we've talked about this before with home buyers. It's the people want to time the market on house values. And the
Mm-hmm.
same thing applies to the mortgage side of it. You just can't time that market because you're just never going to win.
Mm-hmm.
It's just
Mm-hmm.
you can't win that game, unfortunately. But the good news is rates are pretty darn good right now. Historically,
Mm.
rates are very good. We're not look, let's make this clear. In my opinion, we're not going to get back to the 3% rates. We're not going to get
Right.
back to 4% rates.
Mm-hmm.
If we did, great, but I'm telling you, I don't see a path to that happening. And so
Mm-hmm.
what are we waiting for?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Are we waiting for houses to go up some more? Then maybe rates will go down?
Right.
Right? How much are we going to lose in terms of opportunity while we're waiting
Mm-hmm.
to time something?
Right.
So it just doesn't
Been
this
there,
it just
done
doesn't
that.
work. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's good advice, Rick. I appreciate you. And we have a short week this week. So let's make sure we can get our closings done. Next week's the end of the month
Alrighty.
and the end of February.
Crazy.
Well, thanks, Rick. All right. Have
Thank
a
you,
really
Megan.
good rest of
Appreciate
your
you.
day.
You
Talk
too.
to you soon.
We'll see you later.
Bye.